Our next guest is John McEvoy, CFO of Image Resources. After almost 30 years working in the mining industry, John has experience in the full mining project lifecycle, including project identification, M&A, financings, project optimisation and asset disposals. John previously held senior finance roles at Barrick, Asako, Wiluna, Molly Mines and Cable Sands Group. As CFO at Image, John is part of the executive team that has financed and constructed and is now operating the highly successful Budanaring Mineral Sands project. Please welcome John.
Thank you, Toby, for that introduction, and thank you to the organisers who managed to run this conference in extremely difficult circumstances. And thank you, everyone, for taking the time to listen to the Image Resources update and the Budanaring project story. I'd also like to thank those, if there's anybody listening on the East Coast, for actually attending, but hope that you can attend in person next year. The next slide is the usual one on disclaimers and forward-looking statements, which you can read or not at your leisure on the Image website. In terms of corporate snapshot, we have 980 million shares on issue and a market cap of around 170 million at around 17 cents a share as at 30 September. It's actually up slightly since then, but it was 17 cents at 30 September. Our cash on hand now significantly exceeds our debt, with shipments accelerating in the current quarter. Our key project is at Budanaring, just north of Perth in Western Australia. We have already demonstrated a solid track record of operational performance, but in addition, we have significant exploration upside and a portfolio of potential development projects. A picture paints a thousand... Actually, I think I might have missed one there. Sorry, guys. Our 100% owned Budanaring project is based on a very high heavy mineral grade of almost 9%, combined with high zircon grades at over 27%. As a result, zircon provides around 80% of our revenue. The ore is coarse-grained, which makes it easy to process through our 500 tonnes per hour wet concentration plant, resulting in very high zircon recoveries. The coarse-grained nature of our HMC also helps our customers with easier separation and good final product recoveries. The project was built on time and on budget at a capital cost of only 52 million, and the first full year of operations generated 73 million in EBITDA. The Budanaring operation is quite simple by mining standards. Standard open cut mining in sand with limited groundwater impacts and no drill and blast. Processing is through a standard wet concentration plant with no harmful chemicals. Our HMC is then trucked to Bunbury and stored before being loaded onto ships bound for our customers in South China, where our off-takers separate out the contained products, mainly zircon and ilmenite. A picture paints a thousand words, so here's a short video showcasing our Budanaring project. back to me now, so my apologies. In terms of our licence to operate, I'll quickly run through a few key aspects. Our mining footprint and early stage rehabilitation, our power generation and the use of solar energy, and our positive impact on the local community. The above photograph is part of the Boonerang project, pre-mining in Block C, looking south. This next one was taken during mining in Block C. Due to the great work of our team at Boonerang, the successful implementation of co-disposal reduces our mining footprint and minimises our water usage. This is a drone photo taken from a similar spot when we finished mining in the northernmost section of Block C. And finally, the next photograph is a shot taken from a similar spot showing the start of our rehabilitation in the same area. This particular section of Block C has a significant drop around 20 metres from east to west, and the channels you can see help to reduce water runoff and erosion. On a different tack, but still with the environment in mind, the construction of the solar farm at Boonerang is complete, and first power was drawn in late September. Whilst not providing a significant cost saving, renewable energy in terms of solar power is expected to provide at least 25% of our energy requirements, thereby significantly reducing our carbon footprint. In terms of community engagement, Image is now a significant local employer with over 50% of our mine site staff living in surrounding areas. We are a significant supporter of local community groups, with examples shown on the slide, and a significant local landholder with approximately 2,750 hectares of land owned outright and additional areas under lease. In September last year, we held a Boonerang mine opening with over 250 people attending, many from the local community. Now looking at the mineral sands markets, the pricing of our HMC is based on underlying prices for zircon and ilmenite. The zircon component in our HMC, which represents around 80% of our revenue, is separated out by our off-takers, with the primary end use being in ceramics. Australian zircon prices were very strong through 2018 and remained relatively stable through most of 2019, but premium zircon prices have declined around 50% since Q3 last year. Even at these lower prices, our Boonerang project is generating significant profit and cash flow from a relatively modest initial capital investment. The TiO2 content in our HMC, which represents the remaining 20%, is used mainly in the manufacture of paint, paper and plastics, but TiO2 can also form a titanium metal used in, for example, aircraft and vehicles. In terms of operational performance, our 3.7 million tonnes per annum nameplate capacity wet plant has been performing above expectations, with not only very high recoveries, but also availabilities consistently above 90%, against the target of 85%. High ore throughput rates combined with increased ore grades has resulted in increased HMC production for first half 2020. Production reduced in Q3 due to lower ore grades, but is expected to step up again in Q4 and into 2021 as we start processing high-grade ore from Block A. Stock levels had built to well over 100,000 tonne of HMC, or over 4 months production, as a result of a delay in sales during Q1, driven by the uncertainty created by COVID. We expect to reduce stock levels to around 50,000 tonne in second half of 2020, and we've started this process with record shipments in Q3 of 92,000 tonnes. This chart is worthy of a quick explanation. The yellow line represents HMC production. This was relatively steady through 2019, but as we move further north within the Boonerang projects, grades increased significantly. Combined with higher plant throughput rates, this has resulted in significantly higher HMC production in Q1 and Q2. As the cost structure at Boonerang is relatively stable, unit costs have dropped in the past 2 quarters, such that the revenue to cost ratio is well over 2 to 1. In addition to increased HMC production in 2020, we have also seen lower costs in a number of areas, including mining, logistics and administration. Generally, COVID has had limited impact on our operations. However, the key impact in first half of this year, mainly in Q1, was a delay in shipping. With China slow to ramp up production post their new year, such that Image shipped only 109,000 tonnes in the first half. However, since about May or June, demand has been increasing, As recently announced, we shipped 92,000 tonnes in Q3 and have agreed a preliminary shipping schedule with our off-takers for 130,000 wet metric tonnes in Q4. This keeps Image on track to meet 2020 guidance, despite the significant challenges thrown at us this year, largely due to the huge efforts of our site and Perth-based staff. Whilst we are getting Atlas construction ready, which is the most likely next location for the WCP, we're also focused on expanding the reserve base at Boonwurrung, with a significant amount of time and effort going into exploration for more ore. The map on this slide indicates the key areas for potential reserve expansion at Boonwurrung, with the current focus being areas to the north, where high-grade hits were announced some time ago, and further to the south at Gingin North. To advance this work, we recently purchased 2 additional parcels of land covering the northern extension and northwest extension areas, and we are currently drilling these parcels of land. As well as our existing operation and exploration targets at Boonwurrung, Image has a portfolio of other projects, with the size of the bubbles in the chart representing the amount of contained heavy mineral. Dark blue prospects are expected to be mined through dry mining, while the light blue are dredge prospects. These prospects are perhaps better illustrated in the following pyramids. We currently have a minimum of 5 years of dry mining reserves at Boonwurrung and Atlas, but with a number of options to extend these projects. At Boonwurrung, as well as the potential to expand reserves to the immediate north and west, there is also the potential to pump or truck ore from Gingin south and north. For Atlas, there is the potential to increase mine life by pumping from the nearby deposits Hyperion and Helene. In addition, Red Gully and Reagan's Ford provide an option for a further WCP location. In addition to our dry mining projects, we have a number of dredge mining projects on our books, which provide an option for a second operating centre. The primary focus is currently on Bidamina, but Titan, Telesto and Calypso also provide an option for a separate dredge operation. So in summary, we had a successful first year of operations in 2019, with calendar years 2020 and 2021 shaping up to be even better. Amongst other things right now, we are targeting an increase in reserves at Boonwurrung whilst getting Atlas construction ready. Given our strong cash build, we are looking at retiring our debt early to leave the option open for an inaugural dividend after our 2020 results are announced. So as the sun sets on this presentation, thank you for listening, and if you want any further information, please feel free to pop by the Image booth, or you have to do it really, really quickly because we close it down in about 45 minutes. But enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you.
Great, thank you, John. We don't have time for questions, unfortunately, but we'll move along to De Grey Mining,